Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars every single day since August 2019, and we are continuing to march through yet another offseason together. As always, Jaguars on SI is your best stop for all Jacksonville Jaguars news and analysis. Jaguars on SI delivers you the most comprehensive Jaguars coverage you will find anywhere, whether it be locally or even nationally. Jaguars on SI delivers you, the fans, double-digit pieces of free content every single day, ranging from audio content to video content to written content. And we are always live, boots on the ground, covering the Jacksonville Jaguars every time they have their facilities open, whether it's at Jaguars practices, training camp, in the locker room, or on game day. So don't forget that you can find us at social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. And you can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. And most importantly, never forget, all of our content is always 100% free for you, the faithful and local fans of Duval. Welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. As we've been doing the last few days, we are going to continue to break down the individual signings that the Jacksonville Jaguars made in free agency. We've talked Eric Murray, we've talked Jordan Lewis, we've talked Patrick McCarry, and we have talked Dyami Brown. Now we're looking toward Robert Hainsey, the Jacksonville Jaguars' new center that signed over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's an interesting situation to me. To me, out of all the contracts they give out, and there's none that are really, in my opinion, egregious. Like, people have freaked out on social media about the Dyami Brown money, but it's literally 1 year. It will not matter moving forward. This is the one, not because it was a lot of money, but just because of the situation was interesting to me. It signed, I believe, 3 years, $21 million, $7 million a year. It's not like it's some top end center contract or anything, but I'm interested, and I don't personally know this, but I'm interested to see if he actually had a more active market than maybe I'm giving him credit for. Because to me, just 21 million, and of course going for the sum total, and the average annual value doesn't always tell the whole story, because there are guarantees, incentives, etc. that all kick in. But that much, in my opinion, for a guy who, only played a heavy amount of snaps in one game last year and was ultimately, for the lack of a better word, benched in favor of first-round rookie Graham Barton. Now, Graham Barton's a stud. A lot of centers would lose their job if their team drafted Graham Barton in the first round. But it's still interesting to me that a guy who didn't play much last year would potentially have the market that he did when you're seeing other centers get signed for much less. Josh Myers, I think, has like 54 starts or something like that. And he signed for a 1 year, $3.5 million deal with the Jets. Now, Josh Myers isn't, a great center. He's about probably as average as you can get. But still, that to me is just the most interesting part of this. Now, on the other side of it, maybe some taxes included, because this is the only center that was available who's been in this offense. I asked James Gladstone at his free agency press conference how big of a deal it was to get somebody with experience in the offense, just in terms of having somebody who's able to communicate at center. Center after quarterback is probably the position on offense where the most communication happens. And he gushed, over Hainsey and over the fact that, he does have that level of knowledge of the offense, the level of communication. It'll make things easier on Trevor Lawrence and his transition to the offense. So I think that's a big part of it. Maybe, that factors into it. You have to pay a little more because this guy has this very specific trait and experience that otherwise, not a lot of players have. And it's coming at a position where it's heavily important to have that. It can sometimes be cliche to talk about leadership and experience and, communication in some other position groups, etc. Center isn't one of them. So I expect him. He's not an old center, so perhaps he can grow into and be either a long-term center. I think worst case scenario, he's a center for the next 2 seasons. There's definitely some good parts. When you look back at his 34 starts made with the Buccaneers, there's definitely some pieces of his game that, can get people really excited, etc. He's physical at the point of attack. He's a relatively good athlete. He's also a versatile guy. He was a college tackle. He's taking snaps all over the place, and that's clearly something that they've placed a large emphasis on. So I get why they signed him, the experience in the scheme, etc., helping Trevor Lawrence. I'm just interested to see really how it kind of ages just in terms of the contract total. That is all for today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. My name is John Shipley. We'll be back next time.